Sorry about that, boys. Let's move on here. We're going to go into the UFC 280 breakdown. We've got to start it off with Jan versus O'Malley, really.
Well, we've got to start it off with the fact that, once again, we have a fight companion for
We do.
these three fights that are up on the YouTube exclusive, if you'd like to get
We
on
do.
there and have a watch.
We woke up early. Met up.
Super early. We weren't even sure you were going to wake up.
Well,
Is the Griff awake?
Yeah.
I woke up with like 5 minutes to get ready. I got it done, though.
Oh, yeah.
Got the job done, got ready.
Done it for the people.
And we got there like pretty much right as they were walking, which was sick. Jan versus O'Malley. A lot of people think Jan got robbed.
No.
I don't think it was a robbery. It's not like a Gabe Rosado, like in his last fight.
Oh, God.
Clearly he took every round and they just robbed him fucking in front of everyone. Pretty close contested fight.
I can see how they scored it for Jan. Like, I can
Yeah,
see how
with
people
takedowns
wanted to,
and-
but it was... Yeah, rounds 1 and 3 definitely went to O'Malley.
As I
Well,
said,
significant strikes were higher for O'Malley
Yeah.
through round 1 and 3.
yeah, and as I said to you yesterday, I would not have been disappointed if Jan had his hand raised.
No, not at all.
Like,
I said that as soon as it finished. I was like, oh, yeah, that could have went either way type thing. But
Mhm.
I feel like judges take into consideration what you do with your takedowns. And I don't think a lot of people, I've seen fighters come out and be like, no, you got robbed. Like, you're a fighter. You should understand what the judges are looking at, what the judges are looking for.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they're not looking for, oh, yeah, he nearly got that takedown. Like, he nearly did something with it. They're looking for you to be dominant from that takedown. They're looking for you to gain a position from it. Like, it's not a takedown if you have O'Malley sitting on his ass and he just gets back up.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it doesn't count for anything.
No, I've probably seen 3 takedowns that Jan done something with.
And even then, it wasn't much.
It wasn't much. O'Malley showed, good takedown defense. I've been saying it for a while that his ground game's underrated. And I feel like he showed that. He got back to his feet pretty easily, pretty consistently. And, fuck, man, them two on their feet was a sick fucking fight.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
They can run that fight back if they want.
They
I'll
can.
happily watch it again.
Bro, that's like another fight I'll watch whenever they have on. I'll be like, oh, fuck, how are they going to do it this time? But
But give me 5 rounds.
Yeah.
well, I mean, like they're gonna have to next time. I reckon. To what we were talking about just before with Cejudo coming to fight Sterling, I reckon that's just because they know that like O'Malley is not ready for Sterling. Like it's just not a fight that he comes away with a win.
Yeah.
And I mean, like they've been trying to like grow O'Malley like kind of bit by bit, just so to not like have him derailed type thing.
Mhm.
Even his loss against Cheeto wasn't kind of like, oh yeah, his leg got fucked up.
Yeah,
this, that,
Yeah,
and the
it's
other.
controversial.
There's, kind of
Yeah.
a question mark around that.
Whereas now it's just like, okay, now he's like in the fucking, he's ranked number 1.
Yeah.
So yeah, I reckon it's a smart thing for the UFC to get Cejudo in. And I think the fight to make is honestly Sandhagen versus O'Malley for the shot at the title.
Right. Where's Sandhagen ranked?
3rd or 2nd? Probably 3rd now because you got to imagine that Jan will just drop down 1.
Yeah.
That's a fucking fight. That is the fucking fight. I don't care if it's fucking at 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm watching that shit.
Yeah.
Did O'Malley rematch Cheeto at all?
Nah. I was.
Could they
talking-
make that?
Yeah.
Or
I think I was talking to you about that this morning potentially. At some
No.
point, me and you were talking about that
No,
fight.
I do remember that conversation.
I feel like that's a fight that they could make just for O'Malley to kind of get the blemish off his
Yeah.
UFC record type thing, just to be like,
Cheeto's still top 10, isn't he?
yeah. And Cheeto's out there doing work too.
Yeah.
Like he beat Dom Cruz by a head kick.
Oh, yeah, that was a brutal knockout, eh?
Yeah. I mean,
Tom Cruise does this stupid shit where he leans really
yeah.
right side.
it works until
Oh.
you've got 6 fights of tape of it, and like you can just watch it and be like, oh yeah, he does that.
Yeah.
But I think that's the fight to make: O'Malley versus Sandhagen.
Yeah, it'd be a definite good fight.
Because Sandhagen's been working his way back up to another title shot. He's only lost against Dillashaw and Jan.
Mhm.
So, I mean, what better fight to make than that? I don't know where Jan goes from this, really. I'd watch like a Jan Sterling 3.
Yeah, definitely.
do you rate Sandhagen's ground game at all?
It's probably on par with O'Malley's, to be fair.
Oh, right.
They're pretty both underrated in my opinion. Like
If he beat-
obviously they work hard towards it.
If he beat O'Malley, how do you
Sterling's,
see the Sterling fight going for Sandhagen?
Sterling's already beat Sandhagen by rear naked choke in the
Ooh.
first. Not that long ago either.
Oh, right.
Like a while ago, but not that long ago. He's worked his way back from there. I see Sterling just, if he's able to like get him on the ground and control him, I see him beating everyone in that division. I don't think anyone's got like a real high level ground game other than him.
Yeah.
But Sandhagen's pretty lanky. O'Malley's pretty lanky. They might be able to keep Sterling at range and clip him early.
Yeah, because his striking is terrible.
Well,
There's evidence on the weekend.
yeah, we'll move into that. Well, I mean, what do you boys think about the decision? It's like it could have went either way.
No, I'm happy with O'Malley. Like you said, like we both said, as Fumi mentioned before, like I wouldn't have cared if Young got his hand raised.
No.
But I am under the assumption that O'Malley won rounds
Yeah.
1 and 3, which is enough to get in the fight.
Well, O'Malley came out. I watched his post-fight interview.
Yep.
And they were like, "Oh, do you think you did enough to get it done?" He's like, "I don't know. I've got to go watch it." And then he done the post-fight press conference, and he said the same thing. He's like, "I haven't watched it, but I've looked at like significant strikes. I've looked at this. Like, I think, it could have went either way, and I wouldn't have been upset if I lost.
Yeah.
But I'm stoked I won. So yeah, I feel like he pretty much fucking nailed it there. It could have went either way.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't fucking like a Gabe Rosado incident where he just got fucking robbed on fucking live TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Sterling versus TJ. Apparently TJ had shoulder injuries coming into the fight.
I seen something about this like yesterday or something like that. Apparently,
Yeah.
he blew his shoulder out in April of
Yeah.
last year. Wait, this year? What day? Fucking, I completely lost track of time there. It's October. So apparently he blew his shoulder out in April, and it hasn't been good since then. And he told the ref before the fight that if his shoulder dislocates, which probably will, just let him put it back in and keep fighting.
I mean, I did see at the end of the first round he was like saying something to the ref
It was
about his
dislocated.
shoulder. Yeah, you could tell something was off with it.
Sterling
He
threw him
w-
to the ground at one point, and he landed awkwardly on his shoulder, which was already,
Yeah,
you
just
know.
Yeah, he was like off. There was one point at the ground where Sterling was on top of him, and you could like see him like wincing. Like you could see it on his face. Like
Yep.
he was in pain.
Yeah. I mean, he had a long time to kind of rest. Like, he didn't just have to be hard in camp while your fucking shoulder's fucked. I mean,
Jericho just said 6 months ago, my shoulder's fucked. I won't be ready for the fight.
yeah,
Yeah.
give it an extra fucking 6 weeks, because that's what it'd be. You'd fucking have it popped back in and you wouldn't be able to use it for 6 weeks or some shit. You can imagine.
Yeah, I think it's about 6 to 12, depending on how bad.
Yeah, there you go. I've
Yeah,
never
like-
popped a shoulder out, but
I popped mine out when I was a bit younger.
Yeah.
Playing footy.
so I was pretty close though. So yeah, you just have to fucking have it popped in, rest it so like it settles in the joint again, really.
Yeah. And then you got to like do like fucking like exercise and shit with like them rubber bands and that, like you tie them to your bedroom door and shit. And you got to do like
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
exercises to build the muscle and
Strengthen
shit, like all that back up in your shoulder.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
like, even then, you like it was 6 months ago. So even then,
Yeah.
if you did like pop it then, you would have had probably say about 12 weeks where
yeah.
he wouldn't have been able to use it. So he's only had 12 weeks with a good shoulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, and you're meant to be like rehabbing it, but he wouldn't have been like rehabbing it or nothing. Obviously,
Yeah, it would have
he's
been straight in.
straight back, like straight into camp.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I guess he probably didn't want to lose his shot. Like he's pretty lucky to get a shot after. I feel like he's lost some of his last fights, and the fight against Sandhagen was pretty close. But man, fuck, he showed fucking toughness. Like you could tell, like yeah, the first time he was down on the ground was apparently when it popped out the first time, and yeah, you could see like Rumi said straight away on the companion, like fuck, it looks like he's like in pain.
Yeah, he looked like he was hurt.
Yeah. So yeah, TJ lost in the second round, I think it was.
Yeah, second round TKO.
Second round. I originally said this is terrible because this is going to set up O'Malley versus Sterling, and that's a terrible fight for O'Malley. But I'm stoked that that's not the way it's looking like it's going to go.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I'll watch.
Going.
Yeah, I'll watch the Hudo get fucking molested for fucking.
Yeah, because Dana
5
seems
rounds.
to be under the same impression as you that O'Malley's not quite ready for the shot yet.
No, he's not. He's not. Like he just jumped from not ranked in the top 10 to number 1.
Wait, would they have him at like 11th or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 11th or 12th. And yeah,
Crazy.
just jumped the whole fucking division. But yeah, O'Malley's got the skills and shit to kind of do it. Sterling beats O'Malley. Sterling beats Sandhagen at the moment until like someone figures out.
It definitely beats Cejudo.
I think his size and strength's too much for Cejudo.
He just fucking ragdolls him
Yeah.
Fucking hope so. Then Cejudo can just fuck off.
Yeah.
into obscurity.
I mean, I'm not a big Cejudo fan, so yeah, as long as he just gets his dick twisted, I'm happy. Main event,
Yeah.
fucking what a roller coaster that
Fuck, yeah.
motherfucker
So
was.
interesting, hey?
It was a very interesting fight.
Islam got the win. Second round,
What kind of choke was that?
arm triangle.
Right.
No,
Arm and
neck or
choke?
something. Yeah,
Something
arm and
they
neck.
said.
Not like the easiest submission to get because most people, as soon as you've got that arm and their neck wrapped up, they know they've just got to keep you to that side and you can't do anything. But yeah, Islam just showed elite level wrestling really. I don't know what that was by Charles that got him into that situation.
Yeah, that's
He,
it.
I think at one moment turned into a Brazilian ballerina and tried to do some hop, and
That
Islam
was-
was just like, "Oh, yeah, this-"
It was weird. It was like a, what'd you call it? Like an awkward, like jumping knee
I
sort
think he
of.
went for a knee, but then Islam kind of stepped in, but not low, but kind of stepped towards it. So he went to throw a punch from it, and Islam just waited till he landed, clipped him with a nice right, dropped him, pretty much got on top and just smothered him.
Yeah, that's it. Because the punch rocked him enough that he didn't really have his senses to defend himself
Yeah.
on the ground.
Yeah, I've seen like a comment too. It was like a lot of people, like Islam done like the right thing. A lot of people
Yeah.
like hit Charles and tag him, and then like they let him they let him get back up
Yeah,
because they don't want to be on the ground with him. But
Yeah.
like that's the time to jump on the ground with him when
Yeah.
he's like dazed and he doesn't have like his fucking wits about him properly.
yeah.
But,
Well,
like Islam done like the right thing, and like as we said to each other, like after the fight, like he fell into that, like he didn't like necessarily fall into the position, but he went to the ground with the intent of
Yeah.
getting to that position.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like it wasn't like a, oh fuck, I'm just gonna jump on him and
yeah. Like try to ground and pound him instantly.
yeah, like
Islam's fucking
because everybody else is a good striker that he'd been tagged by, sorry, and
Yeah.
like put him on the ground. They never tried to fucking jump on and just fucking choke him out.
Nah, fuck no, they didn't. It was it was pretty evenly matched on the ground, to be fair. Like
Yeah,
in
it
the
really
first
was.
round, Charles pulled guard relatively early, probably a minute in. Pulled guard, and it was just like a mismatch, essentially. Not a mismatch, but just like a stalemate.
Yeah.
Like it was just, they were stuck in full guard. Charles was trying to throw shit up at Islam. Islam knew it was coming and would just hold his position, really. They got back to their feet. Islam landed like a trip, ended up in a bit of a better position and did a bit of ground and pound from there. But then, yeah, stood up, came back out for the second round, and yeah, it was on the feet for most of the second round until that ballerina dance. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, never got to see Charles in like a dominant position on the ground. Like
No.
he was never on top. There was never one
No.
point where he was like,
He was
it was always fucking Islam on top.
He was throwing up like a lot of submissions, but yeah, Islam just looked like he was a step ahead. Just knew, like, looked composed, but like you've got to be, like you're training with Khabib and you know them that higher, like
Yeah, it's like that
Fucking
Dagestani wrestling. Like they're on the ground, but they still like stay compact.
yeah, it's
Like
fucking
it's
nuts,
it's
man.
weird. Like they still stay real tight, but they're still able to like manipulate the person to
Yeah.
where they want them to go.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
That set up a fight for Perth with Alexander Volkanovski. That's a terrible fucking fight for him. Anyone that's just like, that's mad. No.
It's a
Like,
terrible
they're
fight
pretty-
for him. It's a good fight for fans.
It's a
Like I would have enjoyed a Charles fight more because like
Charles versus
I think the thinking
yeah,
behind
yeah,
that in
right.
Dana's eyes is that it's more of a money fight if you
Heyday.
get Volkanovski to do it right now. There isn't really anybody that Volkanovski can fight in the featherweight division that's worth a pay-per-view.
No.
And there's a Rio de Janeiro card coming up sometime early next year, which will probably have Charles headlining, I would assume.
Yeah, he didn't take too much damage. He'd probably be right to come back pretty soon.
Mhm.
I mean,
But that means Islam's going to turn around because we've got 282s in December, 283s in January, so February, whatever the fuck it was, February something.
yeah, I can't remember the date, but
I
Yeah,
don't
I
have a
can't remember
date
I
written
think it was
down
like
here.
I think it was like somewhere around the 20th or something like that.
Yeah,
I think.
so it's in like the middle of February in Perth.
yeah.
So it's going to be hot as fuck.
Oh yeah.
I just don't like that fight for Volk.
I don't either, man. He's just
Like-
yeah, fuck. It's
Like Islam is literally just gonna maul him to the ground.
like look how strong Islam was against Charles. Like that's not good against Volk, who's naturally probably walks around natural at that weight.
He Islam like when he was in the cage.
No,
Like Volkanovski, he was like, "Where is he? I not see this small guy. Where is he?"
Volk's not that small though. Like next to Islam, he's like they like the same kind of height, ish. But I'm guessing Volk probably had like
Shoes on for sure.
Yeah.
but like boosters. Like he probably had like Mayweather fucking booster
He
shoes.
had
on.
like
And-
bigger shoes on.
And
Yeah.
Islam was barefoot,
yeah, that's
Like,
what I mean. Like,
no shoe at all.
yeah, I feel like that's not good for Volk.
Yeah, because like
get what he's trying to
Islam's
do.
not- Islam's not stupid enough to even like try and like the reason that he was trying to strike with Charles is because they probably have about the same striking proficiency. I would say he's not going to bother doing that with somebody like Volkanovski. It's going to
Yeah,
be
no.
exactly like Chimaev versus Holland. He's going to come out, go for a takedown, and just hold him on the ground.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be like less consequences if he like slips up and doesn't capture the takedown perfectly. Like if you go for a takedown against Charles and you don't lock it in perfect, you're fucked.
Yeah,
Like he's gonna have your back, or he's gonna have a guillotine, or it's just not gonna be good. Whereas I just don't see Volk being able to like threaten Islam anywhere near the amount that Charles was able to, and he beat Charles.
Yeah.
So interesting shit ahead. My predictions for
but
all-
I don't know. There's also like small points of like Charles was completely happy to invite Islam into those situations, whereas Volkanovski's going to fight tooth and nail to not
be
be
in
on the
them.
fucking ground.
I mean,
So it is a little bit of a different situation.
like Volk's got good submission defense. Like he got caught in two bad spots by Ortega, and Ortega is pretty fucking high level.
And not only submission defense, submission resistance. Like
Yeah.
his head was about as red as this fucking Coke can.
Yeah, I
when,
do.
When
That's what I
Ortega
mean.
had that guillotine locked
Yeah, like-
in.
There was like
Said he heard him gurgling.
Yeah, there was two
Yeah.
times like Volk was nearly out.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, he's,
anybody else would have been.
that's huge resistance. I feel like Islam's a lot stronger and probably a lot better than Ortega. So I feel like he just squeezes his little
Yeah.
fucking head off.
Yeah, and like
But-
it's like the same thing like that Dagestani wrestling. Like Habib just seemed to have like an insane grip strength.
Yeah.
But apparently they're like strength is just like out of this fucking world.
Yeah, like once they grab hold of you, you're not getting away.
Yeah. I feel like Dustin Poirier spoke about it in an interview once. He was like, yeah, it's fucking out of this world how fucking strong he is. Like, as soon as he got a hold of me, I was like, holy fuck. Which is, yeah, that explains why they can just control people like that. And apparently, yeah, this is Khabib 2.0. So, yeah, there's some cool shit to come out of this, I guess. Like, my predictions are fights that we will see because of all this. Sandhagen O'Malley, that'll happen.
Yeah.
That'll be like title contention fight. It'll happen maybe around the same time that Cejudo and Sterling happen. And then it'll be the winner of that fight versus the winner of that fight.
Yep.
Yeah, I just see Islam running through Volk.
Yeah, it's most likely going to happen like that.
Yeah. I don't see anyone really
It's the same.
doing too great against.
It's the
Islam.
same. Like everyone's like, oh, he's gonna do this and he's gonna do that kind of thing. But the division works out exactly the same for me. It was the same before with Charles, because you have all of these strikers underneath him, and it's the same concept of, yeah, they might be able to like tag him and get him on the ground, but once it's on the ground, it's fucking game over. Same thing with Islam. Like he's
Yeah.
got a suspect chin. He's got like the likes of Gaethje, Poirier, Chandler kind of thing, all coming up the ranks underneath him. They might tag him, they might drop him to the ground, but he's just gonna grab their fucking neck when they do.
Yeah. Well, apparently, the only person that ever came close to beating Khabib was Poirier when he got him in that guillotine. So
Really?
that could be something. If Poirier comes out and beats Chandler, that could be a fun fight to watch.
I would say that Islam's not as strong as Khabib.
No, it doesn't look as strong. Like he doesn't look, and he's nowhere near his experience. Like Khabib had 29 fights by the time he retired. Islam's working towards that. I feel like he's maybe like 20 fights, 22 fights,
Something like that.
but not like, in the UFC and shit like that. That's a fight that I think will happen eventually. Poirier versus Islam.
Yep.
Chandler versus Islam's a fun fight too, though. So yeah, I feel like whoever wins out of Poirier and Chandler
We'll
probably next for a title shot.
Yeah, you would assume so.
You'd think so.